of Dallas, where tonight we'll be live streaming the final table of our weekly Katie's tournament. It started out with 63 players, now down to the final 9, with a total prize pool of $5,000, a little over $1,500 up top. I'm going to be your commentator this evening, Edward Batinga in the booth. Today I have our assistant tournament director, Mr. Min Nguyen. His first time in the booth. Thank you, Min, for joining me this evening.
Thanks, Eddie. This is one of the, I love this stream because it gives a chance for our players to play tournaments. It's just a $100 tournament. You get in, you do well, you get on the final table, you get on the stream. It's really a good chance for some of our players to see themselves on the stream.
Yeah, and I've talked about this multiple times since we started this year, but one of the things we're trying to do different here relative to others across the nation is do multiple times a week, multiple different levels for cash, for tournaments, basically giving everybody an opportunity to play on the live stream where, as you know, they may not have bankroll to play 25, 50, 5, 5, 10, you know. Yeah, and so, you know, a little final table for $100 buy-in is pretty neat for some of these players that never, under normal circumstances, get to play on the live stream. Even some of our cash games during the week.
Raise it up.
You know, 1, 2, 500 cap, which is our main staple here. I believe we have about 8 or 9 tables going on. So if you're listening and you want to get into some cash games, come on over to Poker House Dallas, where we have a little bit of everything. We got a few $2 to $5 bump up tables, the 15-30 mix where we're playing all different types of games. And our staple 1, 2, 500, I believe, I don't know if we do anymore, but we did have one of our tables up to 2-5 tables. So, and interesting, but we go live. Final table. Here are our payouts. $1,512 for first, $1,000 for second, all the way down to 10th, who's obviously busted already, and 9th, whoever gets busted out first on this final table makes $151, and there's a little bit of everything in between. So, again, thank you for joining us this evening on a Wednesday night at 10:25 p.m. So,
And we got some fan favorites tonight. We got DT Hale, Danny, Legos, some guys that really make the final tables. That's doing really well. So.
yeah, this is going to be a fun table. Everybody here, of course, knows BTL's for his funky shirt. So, Miss Danny in the 5-6 was not played on this final table already. So, see, we got cards dealt.
We can't play it that way in hindsight.
There we go.
I'm not.
Again, we are already down to our final 9 players. Out of a total of 63, with a total price pool of $5,040. So the winner of this, unless they make a deal, is going to be making a full $1,500. Assuming they only fired one bullet, you're going to be making 15 extra buy-in. So again, I'm Edward Batinga in the booth. Next to me, Mr. Min Nguyen. On the tracker tonight, Mr. Craig Dobson. And in the box,
Shorter stack here.
Ready?
Eddie's not going anywhere on
Like I
that.
said, we got some fan favorites. This is a tournament my kids play. So I'm hoping one of these days they can get on the stream.
Oh, and we already have one all-man, Mr. Anthony Danmore, middle position, getting shoved 41K. That's about
Raise it up, 20,000.
We're at 4,000.
yeah. So 366. Yeah, we I think entered this level with about 5 minutes left. Taking down the pot, showing his hand, picking up some much needed chips. Now going to be right at 9 big blinds. And I think we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left in this level before we go up to the 488 level. And here are our chip counts, Miss Danny and Mr. Chris, well above the 240K mark. Jacob Bauer, I think first time final table this year at Poker House with 222. Chips 37, big line, all the way down to the bottom.
25.
Again, thank you viewers for joining us this late Wednesday evening.
Oh, we had Anthony fix over the other day. There's could be some fireworks in this.
Yeah. Danny under the gun +1 opening up to King Jack suited. Isn't it to 18K 3X, the big blind.
50,000.
Oh my goodness! Oh.
And Anthony folded pocket tens.
It's interesting. Like I said, this is a smaller line with that, so the level's a little different, but I don't see myself holding things there.
Yeah. Jacob standard defense from the big blind.
Call.
It's called 12 more. 45,000 going into Heads up.
Let's go. All right, guys, that is my time. Good luck to you all. I'll see y'all a little bit later. It's the dead button.
Yeah, she's gonna pretty much see that her entire range. That face is really good. Range under the gun.
Yeah.
Now, with
It's the
that
dead
being
button.
said, I don't like that. I personally, I know a lot of people use that ace of scare card.
Yeah.
So if there was 2 or 3 significant overcards there, I'd probably fold them. I would just overcard, even though you have pockets. you
Oh,
do
you flip one off?
Yeah, I usually fill one off there.
She was a pretty good bet though.
Yeah, she got a little over half pot,
Yeah.
so 25K and 25K, but takes down the pot.
I really like these. She's real aggressive, so you would pick that too. This person.
Yeah, and some of these players are unfamiliar with each other. Again, I know old maybe in the 4 seat and actually Matt played some of our cash tables. Very good tournament players. Any undergun, just spin the limp. 6K with King 6 suited. And they're gonna call right behind him with Queen Jack off.
Alright, 8,000.
It's the call.
All in.
If that kind of action is ahead of me, and I'm gonna swallow the pocket eights, I'm probably
That's what I'm doing.
Wish I had something to call you with, but I don't.
Gonna take the more passive route.
4,800.
I did the same thing. I tried to put
I thought it was moving. I wasn't paying attention.
7 of spades. So I can just check around. To be honest, if I'm Jacob there on 7-4, and everybody checks that flop, I'm probably gonna wait out the turn there. Now, I think Anthony folded 10 a couple of hands ago, so I think if Jacob would have let out there on the turn, he may have gotten Anthony to fold there. So Anthony picking up some more chips, getting up to about 80K now, 13 big blinds, picking up some much needed chips.
Steve Shin was a regular player. It's just nice to see him on the top table tournament. He plays a lot of cash games. I also thought that
So you're seeing here a mixture of cash players and tournament players. Mr. Chris Lego has always been very active in our chat, making the final table here at Katie's game on Wednesday.
This only got 16 viewers, guys. If you're there, give us a like and a subscribe.
And then, I don't know if you knew this, a couple days ago we were about 460 viewers or some change. Subscribers, excuse me.
I check that every day.
Again, help us out here on the algorithm at YouTube. The sooner we get to 1,000 subscribers, the sooner we'll be able to monetize this and make some improvements to our live stream.
I think that we have these things already. I'm not sure that we're going to this week. There it is. Anthony's been picking up some good hands this one.
If I'm Anthony here, depending on the action around,
Oh, I like the squeeze there, don't you?
I would like to squeeze there, especially after talking about
Red flop and everything. But it looks like Matthew might have a hand too. He's got the jack nine open there.
with only 9 big blinds, and he's got some backdoor equity, and he's walking up and ender. Let's see if he gets his chips in. And he does. He shows the remaining chips.
Matthew knows how to
15K.
play a short stack. I like his name. I like that call.
Yeah, he's
And of course, Evans will shove.
overbetting the pot, and that's fine. Maybe trying to deny some equity. Maybe a 10.
Evans will fold. He should fold.
So we are going to be heads up.
45,000.
Got a cold beer. Got the beer. Had a pump beer. Relax.
Needs a 7 jack or queen. So there's 8 outs, and the outs that you're seeing on your screen also account for dead cards.
65-30.
Oh, it gets there on the turn.
Anthony's drawn dead. Oh, it gets there again. Well, insurance. Not really.
Yeah. So Matthew finding the much needed double up now to 24 big blinds, 146,000. Anthony down to just 10K, 1 big blind. So let's see if he can spin that up. Chip in the chair. It would be really, really nice right now. Finish the game.
It's fun.
Anthony, I'm just calling. Matt picking up some much needed chips now.
Big smile on his face. Hey, while we're getting rid of the blinds, don't forget, starting next week, we have salads. Saturday, Sunday for our big 150K Danielle's birthday bash. It's gonna be a great tournament. Come on out, we've already gotten 60 or 70 seats from our salad.
Yeah, so for those of you in the chat, Anthony's automatically all in for 10K. Now, the way TDA rules work, even though he doesn't have the full 8K, the 8,000 goes to the Andy first, and there's remaining 2,000 go to the big blind. So
The only thing win is the 2,000 plus the big one.
Plus the big one.
Exactly what it's doing.
Alright, if anybody gets tired, we
And
can.
it's a rule that they, so,
That's
looks like Dexter's calling with a piece 8, Damien's got 6-6, and, oh, a little fires in his hand here.
Don't put them a check, just to try to manage the players.
That's
Just standard, yeah, pretty standard here in this spot.
Close to it.
Oh,
they're
no.
all in, they're all in.
Danny re-rips it.
Lied earlier.
Okay, so she's just trying to isolate. So I like the move.
Yeah, I like the invaders defenders this hand. King's one of our better dealers, just make sure the pot's right, and I really do like when the dealers take their time to do all this stuff.
Well, that's really important, especially in the tournament, even in cash and ball.
Yeah.
So, King, one of our more experienced dealers here at Flowcross, but also one of our more experienced dealers on the live streams. Been dealing these live streams now for the better part of 6 weeks since we started going live with our live stream. So, doing a good job getting the pots right and the side pots correct. Ooh,
Oh, the 8, oh, that's a good the 8.
3 at that.
That was no damage.
Anthony drawing to a 5 and 5 only.
Oh, looks like Dexter's going double up, triple up. Double up plus some, so Anthony is out. Check with the straight.
Assuming the whole cards are right and everything's correct on the board, it looks like Mr. Anthony is now eliminated. We've seen here in the background.
Probably wish you raised your receipt on the board. But he played good.
Yeah,
Sometimes pie works right too. I'm not really judging you.
As far away as you can get now.
Alright.
Can you hear it now, Cam?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You hear the sniffling and the coughing. It's disgusting. I'm just getting over, what's it called? So,
You know, the funny thing, Kim, is I worked really hard to make sure those mics were working, and then I forgot to turn them off. So that one's on me. I'm gonna take responsibility for that one.
they got me today, Kimmy. They're like, hey, we need you on the live stream. We need you to commentate. And I got suckered in.
How sick are you?
I'm not, I don't think I have the Rona.
Alright.
I mean, I hope not, because that means you're about to get it.
Alright, next hand, please.
How about the sound? Does it sound better now? Can you guys hear the overhead mics? Hear us in the booth?
Captain Underpants, Eddie was telling me about you. I told my kids are huge Captain Underpants fans.
Yeah.
So they love it. We got a raise.
5,000.
Pretty standard open from the button.
I like it, 9-10 hearts. And she picked up the ball.
Good little steal from the button. Danny using her chip stack. Put some pressure on small blind and big blind.
Almost 2. It's crazy. It's crazy how much they changed in that.
This is better thing, you hear?
Yeah, Charlie's about to turn 1 at that. Charlie's acting like the star. Star didn't like that.
Sleeping and everything.
Nothing to see.
Right now, I know.
Gotta get away. Yeah, some people told me that their baby just came out sleeping good. I'm like, dang, you're so lucky. So lucky. This guy told me the other day that his baby came out as a newborn and was sleeping 12 hours a night. And I was like, that's so, you're blessed. Raised 20,000.
More than that.
I can see Mark connected back. Robert, I'm gonna have to step out and check that. Can you actually see the stream?
Give more money.
Yeah, he was good.
You married me last time you checked me, you got checked. You got kicked out of it.
Oh, yeah, you got his now?
No, nothing's muted. Everything, we did mic test, sound test before checking.
Hello?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Point the camera at the mixer.
Point the camera in the mixer.
Skip a break? Keep going.
So we are getting some technical help here.
Yeah, I just turned it down for the rest of the
I have to use the restroom.
You can walk away. You gotta use bathroom.
Take a look at this.
Test, 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 test.
Eric, you can see I'm looking at the screen here on the audio. It's up
That
here.
looks like it's good right there.
Yeah.
Can anyone break this for me?
Here are our chip counts.
Sure, sorry guys.
Okay, everything's working?
But no one, I
Thank you.
never read anything.
Hey guys, sorry about that. Definitely use air,
25,000.
but we're back on now.
And now we are handing this final table, so going back to the action, let's see where we're at. So it looks like some limps.
Danny raised 25,000. Looks like Steve Shelby with 8.
Jack Ford takes it down.
Okay.
You'll probably get Jacob to fold.
Yeah.
Danny will probably call because, well, I don't know, it's gonna cost her a fourth of her stack, and she really won't call up.
Yeah, she's running it.
Oh yeah, so she's pretty much pressing at this point.
Oh, no, it's the same. Yeah, she's probably scared. She's going to cost her that 34.
So a little bit of a coin flip situation. Steve ahead of ace high. Losing an 8 though with Jacob folding Jack 8 of hearts. This will be a nice little double up for Steve. Again, I don't know if Steve is a tournament player. I know I've seen him playing a lot of cash out there. Okay, so Danny flopping the best of it.
Range, 25,000.
Top pair, king kicker. Oh, pretty much drawing dead now. Steve has been eliminated, and Danny picking up additional chips.
I guess I still cannot hear you. Alright, let's finish. Go down. Turn off that light right there. Go back up. No, go back up. Turn off that light. Put mute on that.
First two games I played, final thing. Broke up my heater when we broke the table. Playing the cards, baby.
Take those back. We got 3
You
players.
can put the extra 10 in, I'll take it.
Not going to be good here. Going to turn his king high into a bluff.
Now keep talking as game.
Yeah, Danny flopped 2 pair there, so.
Yeah.
And
Alright, that's it. Alright, that was it.
thanks, guys.
Alright, bye.
How about now the audio? Oh, that sounds a little better.
Yeah, so better. Thank Thank you for Eric Anderson calling us from Vegas, walking around the Vegas Strip, giving us a help here. Again, user error.
Yeah. Now, Danny there can't come back over the top. I know she wanted to raise again, but Broadway draw gets there, hearts get there, so just kind of calling down after flopping 2 pair there. It's not a very good run out for her specific hand, even though
She flopped the monster, but
Yeah.
it was a terrible run out for her. Yeah.
lots of hands get there, straights get there, flushes get there. Now we have Miss Sarah Kelly pushing in the box. One of our newer dealers here. Jumped in on the opportunity to get the training here on the live stream table to deal. So I know she's relatively new to dealing in poker, like probably less than 6 months, man. So
Yeah, yeah. She's learned.
yeah.
She's learned. And then she she knows to take this pretty seriously. All right. And we're off. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
As you can tell, that Min and I are not the technological guys here. We are just commentators. So
It's pretty amazing. You have 2 Asians in the box, and neither of us can figure out how to
I
put the mic
know,
on.
you would think so.
Yeah, they're going to pull my Asian card for this one. So we'll see how this works.
yeah. Oh, I just got a message from Robert that he's in the car driving through New Mexico trying to listen and watch it. So
Robert, be careful.
yeah,
I mean,
drive
that's-
safe and thank you very much. That's Captain Underpairs.
Oh, cool.
So I know he came up here. He's been kind of lively in the chat past few times that we've had this stream. So thank you for all the support that you've been giving us here recently at Poker House, especially in the live stream and playing in the room. So
they're kind of stuck on the graphics here. We might but again, there's a lot of times when something goes wrong, we can't see it for 15 minutes till after the fact. So
yeah.
let's go old school, like Norman Chad. They used to do back in the day when we watched WSOP. There's no whole cams.
Yeah.
All right, we got.
So we're just gonna give you the 2 Asians in the two Asians in
the commentary
in the
booth
commentary booth.
with no technical knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we got a flop here. Eddie, you got the better eyes. What we got here? 3 cards, and all right, cool. Looks like we're back up. Danny's still ahead. We got 7 players still.
Yeah, and Danny, no stranger. She's a very aggressive player, probably the most aggressive player at this table, maybe with the exception of BT or Chris Lego in the 8 seat. So let's see how this unfolds. So obviously, like, I came in a little earlier today, not like super earlier, but made some adjustments to the cameras to make sure we got the 1 seat, 2 seat, and the 8 and 9 seat in better view. So let me know, viewers in the chat, what you think about the camera angles, if it looks better.
BT should open up here for a little bit, right?
Yeah. I think he's supposed to. I think he should jam.
Yeah, with just that many bigs.
Yeah, with 10 bigs.
Well, he's making it 25,000. And he picks up the wine. But you're right. I think a jam would probably be better. Than
Yeah,
10
and
bigs.
late with suited Broadway cards in the cutoff with 10 big blinds with some action behind. You know, even if you get called, you're still gonna have a lot of equity versus a lot of hands. Even if you're going against a hand that's ace high, you still have a ton of equity. So I would have liked to seen BT jam there in late position with King Jack suited, but makes a small little bet and still takes down the blinds. Captain Underpairs, make sure you drive safe. I'm hoping maybe we'll do another live stream before the tournament, cash live stream before the tournament starts next Thursday.
Yeah, I think we will. We've got a
few more live streams.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
We get Patrick's game and the next gen game
Yeah.
on Sunday, so we'll at least get 2 in.
I know Captain Underpair has had some neat ideas for us here at Poker House regarding our live stream. I want to definitely give him credit for those. I don't want to actually say that until we potentially do that. I want to run them by management here, but some great ideas, and I really appreciate your input with that. So thank you very much.
Then Chad picked up the blinds with 2 sevens there. We're going on to our next hand.
Yeah, we're now down to 7 players at this final table. Started with 63 players this evening. Now down to the final 7 with first, unless chop happens, 1,500. And I believe second's just a pinch over 1,000. So
Yeah, it's like 1,008.
now ICM is starting to take ICM is starting to play a factor now. So let's see what players do.
We got 2 pocket pairs and an ace jack here. See how it goes. I'm sure Matthew's probably going to open with an ace jack. Oh, he just flats. After Jacob flats. And Danny looks. Oh, no, he opened.
Yeah, opens with a snap call. So
24K. Danny snap calls.
Jack deuce suited in the hijack. It's a little bit of a speculative call with the action behind.
Yeah, but Jacob's going to call there too.
Yeah, feels like he's getting a good price to see the flop.
Flop really doesn't hit anybody. I think.
Danny with the best hand with pocket 8s.
Mm-hmm.
Matt as a pre-flop aggressor, I believe checks the flop, or is he going to bet?
Let's see. He's thinking. Looks like he's thinking.
Yeah,
about
and
betting.
I actually like this all in.
Oh, he
move,
checks
but
it. He
yeah,
checks. And Danny's going to shove.
yeah.
All in. That should get him to fold.
Yeah.
Hey guys, again, sorry for some of the early technical difficulties. A couple of things Eddie and I have talked about. But we're taking a lot of security precautions right now.
Yep.
All the players' phones are off the table. We cannot see anything. We see everything 15 minutes after the fact. So when we're commenting on it, sometimes we don't even see it 15 minutes after the fact if someone's not running the action tracker. But just want to give you guys a key while we're doing these things. Nobody sees the hands as they're happening.
Yeah, and while management is having some fun in Vegas, I don't even know what they're doing right now. I know it's it's either 8:45 or 9:45 over there. They're probably on the strip having a good time. So.
Yeah. Well, no, they were on the strip helping us fix our stream earlier. So.
So thank you guys for helping us out on the stream from halfway across the country. Look forward to hearing what you guys have learned there in Vegas.
Looking like Jacob opens the 25,000 with a king 7 of spades.
I love that hand.
I do. King suited it's an interesting hand. I'm bringing some GTO stuff. Yeah.
It's one of these new hands. I probably wouldn't be opening it up +1. It's probably a hand that you are going to open in later position or defend out of the big blind, but he takes it down with king 7 suited. Pushing over just over 20 big blinds, sitting at 22 big blinds. A few small stacks here remaining.
Dexter.
Yeah,
and
Dexter,
BT.
BT. So the 3 small stacks, Matthew with 14, BT with 13, and Dexter with 7 big blinds, 56K. So look for them to find their spots to get their chips all in.
Getting a little baby talk from the dealer today.
Yeah, Miss Sarah, I know she's
What
got
to
a-
expect when you're expecting.
Right.
All right, we get a lot of clubs. Danny opens. How do you like playing these ace-7s offs and stuff like that to defend? I like opening with them, but I'm not necessarily like calling
So
them.
if out of the small blind, the button A7 suit, you can defend on the button. A7 offsuit, you're not defending. Out of the small blind, you're not going to defend.
Oh wow, look at this.
Yeah, and depending on where the action is and who the action's from,
Right.
you could defend the big blind with that hand. I'm not a big fan of that. Of defending.
I'm kind of shocked BT's called with the 7 deuce here.
Yeah.
BT's a very solid player. He checks.
PT with the best of it.
Danny probably was going to fire here with the open ender. Yep.
Yeah.
And BT folds. What
So
is that then?
here's the thing, right? If you're gonna defend the big blind with the seven, and the flop goes check, and the turn hits a 7, you
I
probably
think you better barrel there.
yeah, you probably should be calling, if not barreling there.
With his stack too, I think he's
Yeah.
got a barrel. Yeah.
Now he could have been scared of the diamonds.
Are we in break?
A lot.
If we're not in break, I have to use the restroom.
Well, looks like we're gonna have a little short break right here.
Yeah. We will hang out here in the booth. We don't want to lose you viewers, so we'll continue to chat. Let's see what Craig says they're gonna do.
Well, they had the break earlier, so it's not a bad idea to skip this break here. We had a 20-minute break just to get the final table. We colored everybody up. So,
Can anyone break this for me?
all right. Blinds are now 10,000, 10,000. Looks like Chris is opening up for 25 with the ace-6 of clubs. He's in the cutoff, so it's not too bad. Chad should defend with it. No, Chad folds the king-jack.
Chad, I don't know too much about Chad as a player. I've seen him here before. I've seen all of these players at some point here at Poker House, but I don't. A few of them, I know this is their first final table. Let me phrase that. That I can
First
recall,
stream that we've seen. Yeah.
that I've either commentated on or watched. So I believe in the 9 seat, Dexter in the 7 seat.
And Jake, I think, was here last week.
Was he really? Did he end up final tabling?
I think so.
Okay, I could. This tournament specifically?
I think so.
Oh yeah. This is the one where I was going to try to sneak over here, but I was babysitting last Wednesday.
That's right.
So,
I hear you're a premium babysitter.
man, I tell you what. If anybody in the chat needs a babysitter, I take payment in food. Nobody with too much here on this flop, although Chris does have pocket 3s, going to be a standard open from late position.
For 20.
Now the blinds have gone up to 5K, 10K with a 10K big blind ante, so 2x a pot. Now, for those tournament players, as you progress later in a tournament and as the stack depth gets smaller, your opening sizes are going to be smaller. So generally, when you have a stack depth of 30 to 50 big blinds, you're going to be wanting to open 2x,
2.5.
even 2.5x is still pretty big. So
Yeah.
the earlier you are in position, the smaller you can open. The later in position, and on the button, some players like to open up a little bit bigger to deny some equity against the small blind and the big blind from calling. So
Especially players that don't mind defending, right?
Right.
They're going to have to give them a little more pressure. there.
yeah. Now with a player like Danny in the big blind, she's probably going to defend. I wouldn't say wider, but probably more standard versus some of these players that don't have a lot of final table experience.
Chris picked up another big hand with 2 jacks there.
Definitely going to be opening up this hand.
25,000.
Yeah, and he goes about 2.5x. And again, for those of you in the chat, the pink chips are 5K chips, and the yellow chips are 1K chips. So we did a color up right before the end of. I'm sorry, we did a color up right before we started streaming this final table. Jake, you're going to defend the button with Queen 8 suited. Little light defend from especially with only 13 big blinds. Or I'm sorry, he probably had about 16 big blinds. So little light defend. Danny feeling like she's getting a good price with 8-5 suited. Now again,
8-5 offsuit.
8-5 offsuit. Now here's the thing: when you're in the big blind and there's more people that call, you're less incentivized to call and defend the big blind, especially with a hand very as weak.
Chris
as
flops a monster there
Yeah.
with a set of jacks.
So let's see what kind of sizing you use here, because no one else has much of anything. So,
Right.
oh, so did Chris check his option?
I think so. And
Yeah.
then looks like Jacob made a 50,000 on
Trying to use his
pure
position.
air here. What do you think? Straight flat or you raise here?
I think he's gonna rip it. Jacob doesn't have too much behind. He's just gonna call. Let's see.
Call, yeah.
This is gonna flat call. Going to a river. See what happens if a club comes out. A 10 comes out.
Actually, gives Jacob a little more of a draw here. Yeah.
Gives Jacob a little bit of equity.
Jacob shoves. And it should be an easy
Yeah.
call for Chris. Yep.
Drawn to a 9 and a 9 only.
Oh, got you clean. I thought it was
Yeah.
a 9, yeah. All right, Chris, we get some chips here. And
Chris
Jacob is out.
getting sneaky with top set flopped on the flop. Getting Jacob to commit all his chips on the turn, getting eliminated in 7th place for $252. Jacob, good game. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we see you in future tournaments. Again, tomorrow we have Chris May's tournament, $200 buy-in.
Oh, yeah, and Chris wanted me to mention that also. We're having the legendary TJ Cloutier will be here tomorrow.
TJ Cloutier will be playing tomorrow evening. Tomorrow's stream, from my understanding, though, is going to be
Ducky's game.
Ducks game, the 125 1000 cap. That's an action-packed game. I will be in the booth for that one.
I'll be running the tournament.
Yeah,
so
and I
I'll be
believe-
back to where I belong.
Yeah, I believe Dan Simone will be joining me in the booth as well tomorrow. So
So Chris has got a big stack now, and he knows how to wield it. So he's gonna be pretty tough to beat right now.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets heads up between Chris and Danny.
Just because the stack size and their aggression, right? Oh, it looks like Chad's picked up a big hand. We'll see how Chris is gonna do here.
Now I'd like to see Chad just open here.
Oh, what the?
There's no way he had jacks.
No, so we,
He's never folding jacks right there. So there has to be some sort of
Oh, he didn't even tank.
yeah. He didn't have jacks there. Could have been a misread from the RFID, and it goes down to I don't think these whole cards are correct. Well, I don't know.
Well, the jacks were correct earlier. I guess it was 2 different jacks. So
Yeah, 70. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not
all right, yeah. Let's switch decks.
Right now,
Let me let him know.
me on mute. Yeah. Decks are getting all his chips in with the big blind. Again, I don't know if that is correct or not, but picking up some much needed chips, putting him over 66K. 6 big blinds. He is now going to be in the small blind. So get a little bit of an orbit around with 6 players left. 6 players left to maybe hopefully double up. Right.
Sorry for this extra noise. We're just doing a couple little housekeeping stuff. You know, since there's 2 of us in here, I always like to call the Jack 10 suited Asian aces.
Asian aces, I like
I'm a
that.
big fan.
Chris getting a walk with Jack 10 suited.
Oh, that's got to hurt him a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and I think if Dexter doesn't fold, if he just limp calls right there, then I think Chris is just going to yam it in there.
Yep.
Get him to commit his chips. Going to obviously fold there.
Listen, we've got 20 viewers. I'm glad you guys are here, spending the Wednesday evening with us.
You got Miss Cecilia Nicholas saying, Emma and Nikki say hi and good luck, Dad, to Dexter George. So Cecilia, I apologize for missing that. We were trying to
Fix our audio.
fix our audio issue here. So Matthew with 10s in the hijack's probably going to get his chips in.
Yep.
It's going to fold all the way down to Chris in the small blind, probably going to re-rip it or call, get his chips in. Going to force Chad to fold. Looks like we're going to go heads up. Oh, sorry. Jumping ahead of the action.
Right.
I'm just guessing what players are going to do. Let's see if Chris just calls here or if he tries to re-rip it
he's
to
all in.
isolate. Yeah. And that's a pretty standard move out of the small blind because you don't want the big blind to get in there.
You got a big pair? Woo, come on, flip it.
All right,
So a
let's
little
look
bit
it
of a
up.
coin flip. Matt, just ahead equity-wise, 58% to 42%. Oh, just kidding. Now, Matthew does pick up some backdoor outs. It's going to need a 10 and a 10 only.
And that's it for Matt.
And Matt, old man, getting eliminated in 6th place or 5th place?
I think it's 6 points.
6th place. Yeah, so now we have 5 players left. Now, I don't know if they're joking and they're joking about doing a chop or maybe doing an ICM down to 5 players.
I know Danny's not a big fan of chopping. So
So here's the thing. A lot of players like to chop. Okay, so I will tell you why I'm no longer a proponent of chopping. Now, if it's one of these tournaments where it's like everybody's less than 10 big blinds,
Right.
and there's like 6 players left, I'm not opposed to chopping. But in a format like this, I don't like to chop, and the reason I don't like to chop is, as a tournament player, as you're trying to learn more tournament, these spots become more and more important to learn from an ICM perspective. So knowing how to play, knowing when to play, knowing what to bet, knowing when not to bet, knowing when to rip it, knowing when not to rip it. So, a lot of players don't have a lot of experience four-handed, three-handed, or even a heads up. So I personally don't chop, and it has nothing to do with me thinking I have an edge over any specific player or players. I just, as in my poker career, as I try and play more and more tournaments, trying to learn those spots a little bit better and better in terms of trying to learn how to factor in ICM. So,
and also the way we structured our tournaments, there's some play at the end, and I think it's good practice for these players to play shorthanded.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the thing on these smaller buy-in tournaments. Yeah,
I mean, you're short stacked. There's no way around it.
Right.
It's not gonna be, but it's good practice to get your nerves in.
Yeah, our 2 chip leaders, Danny and Chris, they're just in a really good spot to play heads up if they get to that spot.
Yeah, 40 bigs plus, right? It's not bad at all. Heads up.
You can go blind versus blind to the flop. This is a flop that hits both of their ranges. The limping range, the completing range from BT Hell, and the big blind range from Danny. So look for Danny to peel one up, and he just folds the open ender.
He's ICMing it a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Because 4th place doesn't pay as much, and in this part you're ICMing a little bit. We're pretty top heavy here at what 1,500 and
Yeah,
1,000.
he only has 6 blinds left.
So he doesn't want to put it in the draw there.
And again, so my feeling on that is if you hit a flop like this,
he had a chance to shove it. That would have been different, instead of
I mean,
checking and
I
calling.
think if he shoves there, I still think Danny calls because she has the chips there. But again, if you're gonna complete out of the small blind with only 7, 8 big blinds left,
if you hit any
and
part
you
of
hit
it,
and you have a flop like that, I would like to see you get your chips in. Yeah, if he's factoring ICM in that spot with 6 big blinds, because he doesn't have a lot of orbits left.
Yeah, I know.
Not much pre-flop for these players.
I do like how we're doing the new graphics now, where you see the cards, the cards before. Oh, Danny's got 2 9s there.
So I think she's gonna kind of rip it. And it's gonna force Dexter to probably call king high.
Right.
Let's see what BT does. The ICM.
Looks like Danny opens for 25.
Yeah.
Or 30.
Now with 4 big blinds, you can. This is a hand you're gonna call with.
I think you're gonna have to here.
Yeah, he folds there, and again,
he folds.
This is no shot to Dexter. He probably just doesn't know these spots. But when you have a suited king in the big blind, in a blind versus blind situation versus the biggest chip stack at the table, it's either her or Chris at the chip lead.
Yeah, I think Chris has got the chip, but it's close.
Yeah, if with him having his little chips as he has with a suited king there, you're gonna get your chips in there and just hope for the best.
And honestly, at this point, the ICM is not going to make much of a difference because you've got to get some chips to win.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
And so again, a lot of these players are unfamiliar with final table play. Probably the 2 most experienced players left in this final table are Chris in the 8 seat and Danny in the 5 seat. So,
and unfortunately, they've got the stacks.
And Dexter's going to get it in king 10. That's a pretty good hand. I look for Chris to probably call off here. It's not a lot for him to call off. Yeah.
Oh, I still think I would have called off the king 8 there. There's so
That's
many
a tough.
There's
That's
so
a
many
tough.
queen jacks, 10 jacks, combos that go in there. I mean,
yeah. I would have to check, but I think that's probably a standard call there. I'll double check. I'll double check on a blind versus blind for only 4 big blinds when you have 5.
the other one, right?
Yeah, so the one. Go to GFX2. Configure.
Here you do it.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're over here. Danny's got king 8. She folds king 8. We're blind to blind, 9-4, and then Chad gets a walk. Oh, jack 4, the Robbie Law.
Yeah.
That's right.
Ship it. Get it in there. Chad playing him pretty tight since he's got on this final table. So
I'm thinking maybe we didn't misread the 2 jacks. We had to.
No, there's no way he's folding jacks
There's
there.
no way. Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask him when we get out.
that had to have been a misread. Because if I have jacks right there,
Oh,
ship it.
And he casually folded too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
It wasn't even a tank fold.
Yeah,
He was just
yeah.
like, oh, jacks, I'm folding. Now, this isn't surprising. Danny with the highest VPIP among the remaining players at 50%. So,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked there's gambling in this establishment.
well, again, this is what makes Danny so difficult to play with on any table. She's very, very aggressive. Uses her chip stack, puts you in tight spots. So
I really like her play.
yeah, if you show weakness at any point in the hand, she's gonna attack you.
That's a good fold. I am just squeaking over here. I got history with this hand. This hand was going to hit.
Oh, the queen seven.
six?
Yeah,
Queen six.
That was the hand. He had a big hand in our big 100K last time. with that
No,
hand, right?
so he opened. So for those of you guys who don't remember, I was in the booth when that hand happened. BT Hell was in the under the gun on the gun +1 with Queen 6. No, he had Queen 4. Oh, yeah, Queen 6 suited, Queen 4 suited. There was a raise with jacks behind him, so a 3-bet behind him, a 4-bet in the hijack with aces. It goes around to the small blind, who 5-bet rips it with aces also. Obviously, BT folds back to him, folds. Jack calls off with jacks with a 4-bet and a 5-bet rip ahead of him, and the aces both, pretty much scoop up his money, the jacks.
Chris votes king 6 suited. You wouldn't open that too early.
Well, they're 5-handed, so late position. That's it's not a bad open. So.
Again. Then he gets a walk with the king 9.
Yeah, and some of these players with shorter stacks are just gonna have to make a move. They see pretty much any of these players with less than 10 big blinds see a face card or king 10, queen 9.
Do you think being on stream affects the way they play? They don't want to look silly with a king 9, king 7 like that and get it all in.
Yes and no. Now I know that I've played on a few streams. I don't care how I'm gonna still play my game.
Right.
On a stream. Now, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't
Well,
make
of course.
me
I'm talking about
nervous.
at this level, the $100 level, and getting on stream for the first time.
I don't know the answer to that question. I think yes and no.
Yeah.
Now, some of these players may try to make a money jump, right? Dexter's
Right.
trying to squeeze in there, and Chad's going to try and sneak in there. So this is a hand that you could probably open.
The Chad opens for
and the cutoff.
a min raise. That's not bad.
I'd like to see Danny defend this, even though it's a weak ace.
Oh, yeah. I think she will. I mean,
No, she's going to fold. That's a good fold, actually. A suited ace right there. She's definitely defending, but.
and she's seen Chad fold a lot. I mean,
Yeah. So for him
yeah.
to open, she knows if she's going up against any other ace, her ace is going to be way behind. So she's maybe coin flipping at best in that scenario. So Danny, usually being the aggressor, makes a fold with elects not to defend the big blind with ace 5 offsuit.
Sure. As we're waiting for the hands to pop up, just a reminder, we do have a tournament tomorrow with Chris Mays' Classic, $200 buy-in. We have a $300 bounty tournament Friday. And, of course, Saturday we start our satellites, and the week after that we'll start our day ones. I'm very excited. We had a great time with our first 100K tournament. And right now we're looking at another 150K. We doubled our 100K last time. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can do a close to double. We can get over 200, 250. It'd be a good
Yeah,
payout.
it's a really good value tournament. So it looks like I think we're behind on action here.
Yeah, I think
So-
we're going back for that King 8. Yeah, there we go. Looks like we got King 9 versus. Someone's calling for a 3.
Chris is. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure what's going on with the action tracker, but it looks like
Looks like Dexter doubled up.
picks up some chips. Not sure how the hand unfolded, but picking up some much-needed chips. So Cecilia and Emma and Nikki. Dexter picking up some chips here on the final table with 5 players remaining.
Hope you guys are still watching. Dexter did good. All right, Dexter's checking. He just looked up to see how much money he's bringing home to you guys today. Yeah. And this is the first time I've seen Dexter play in our tournament. Have you seen him before?
Dexter's actually, I either play or commentate, so I'm usually in the room fairly often. I do not recognize Dexter.
And then I run a lot of tournaments. I don't recognize him. So hopefully this is one of his first times. He's doing well. And he'll come back and bring some money home to the babies, Nikki and Emma. All right. Looks like BT's all in for about 40, 50, 60, 60K, 60, 70K right there with the pinks. So yeah, see, I think this is what happened. Something happened here.
Okay.
Yeah, so BT's in for 62,000. I think somebody's tanking on the other side over there. Danny doesn't have a hand, so I'm curious who the action is to. It's got to be Chris. Looks like Chad. Chad calls. And
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize for the action tracker not being accurate. So
looks like
BT has been eliminated.
Limited
And Chad
has got him. Well, BT will be back, always with a colorful shirt and a nice hat.
Now we are down to our 4 remaining players. Miss Danny in the 5 seat. Dexter making his much anticipated pay jump to 4th. He keeps on looking over his left shoulder to see what his ICM implications are. Chris in the 8th seat, and Chad sneaking up it as well. Now up to 10 big blinds.
All right, looks like we're back in order here. I think it looks like
Not sure.
no, this is the hand before.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for this. Good game, BT.
BT's one of my favorite players.
I love BT. I'll tell you what. I got to meet him for the first time during the tournament, the 100K Summer Bash,
Right.
And he was joking when he wasn't playing, when he was working. What the other job is, he's in the chat as well. Asked if we wanted Taco Bell. Sent us Taco Bell here in the booth, Craig and I. So definitely really appreciated that.
Yeah, and I remember meeting him for the first time by playing against him. It was before I started working here, back in before the. I think yeah.
Men stepping out of the booth just to let the dealer, Miss Sarah and Craig, know that we're missing some of the action, so we just want to make sure we're getting it. So again, apologies for the last few hands not getting on the screen. Chad getting all his chips in, 21 big ones, ace jack.
And he picks it up.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, assuming his chip count is correct, having over 210,000, four-handed, you don't really need to be ripping ace-jack offsuit, even though you're in position forehand, because nothing worse is going to call you, right?
Yeah,
if something's going to call you, you know, with Dexter having a small stack, you could be hurting yourself from an ICM implication. So, you know, can open the standard amount, 2.2, 2.5. They're probably not at the point where they can do 2.2. They might be able to. Oh yeah, they can open like 22,000.
Oh, a good player once time told me, don't let fear affect your decision.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out or fear of losing
Wow,
too.
look at this.
Oh wow.
Dexter's going to be getting his chips in.
Holy moly! 5s, 4s, Jackson, Ace, King. Danny's all in with 2 Jacks.
Dexter's folding
Oh,
5.
good, smart. Wow.
Let's see if Dexter is going to make the fold here. Now, from an ICM perspective,
It's not a.
he may be.
He actually has 2 Jacks this time.
So it's a flip. Danny with pocket jacks versus ace king. Standard pre-flop.
Oh, there's the ace. And another ace.
Oh, and so I think accidentally that reader got it wrong, but we do know that
At least one ace at the board.
Yeah, Chad picked up some chips there.
Pretty good amount.
Yeah, and Danny's still in a good spot, still with over 26 big blinds.
Yeah, and there's times in the tournaments where the hands play themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything different with those 2 hands. You can see what Dexter's thinking.
Yeah, he's
looking at that board.
He's looking at the page.
fourth
He's
one,
looking
yeah.
at the page. One to hopefully get IC and jump. What is fourth play and what is third play pay?
I mean, my phone's over there. I can show you.
Yeah.
125, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190.
Looks like 4th place 479 and 3rd place 605. It's not too bad.
Yeah, so there's really not that much of ICM jump there.
No, really not till 2nd. But
Yeah.
Hey, your 479 is not bad. You can bring that home to Emma and Nikki, right?
Yeah. So again, for those of you not familiar with how tournament poker works, without getting too complicated, you'll hear me, especially when I'm in the booth during a tournament, you hear me talking about ICM implications, and basically what that means is when you're playing cash, each chip is worth $1, right? So if you're playing 1, 2, 500 cap, each white chip is worth $1, each red chip's worth $5, green chip's 25, black chip's 100.
Yeah, so they never change in
Yeah,
value.
they never change in value. In a tournament, you can start off with 300 big blinds, but as the blind levels go up, your chip stack depth decreases. So the value of you losing chips later in a tournament actually hurts you more than you picking up chips. So you hit that, especially when you start factoring in pay jumps. Now, again, with that being said, with this being a small tournament, the payouts are somewhat relatively flat, 470 to 600. The bigger pay jumps are, 600 to 1,000 and 1,000 to
Danny's
15,
all in here.
1,500. So let's see what Danny's all in with pocket nines.
Chris folds.
Craig. Yeah. Okay, so his hand was right here, and I actually put in the box and stacking his chips. He was big blind, so what do I do?
His hand's dead.
His hand's dead.
I pulled in his cards, and I dealt him his cards, but he was
Oh, the big blind stayed. You can do the big blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody gets the chips back. Yeah.
so I pulled
Now, what's Chris doing? Chris's hand is dead too.
I hadn't even looked at them. I actually
It doesn't matter. That makes it even worse. You can't retrieve the hand back.
Yeah. So again, there's an issue here at the table.
I'm not sure why Chris has grabbed his hand back. Either.
Yeah.
The thing is, sir, it is, even though it is the player's responsibility to protect your hand.
That is correct.
It is the truth. I understand, so it is the player's responsibility to protect your hand. So it is a dead hand.
And Chris's hand is dead. He
Yeah.
threw in the muck.
So with that being said, there was an issue where the dealer accidentally grabbed the big blinds, Chad's hand, before he looked as he was stacking chips, and he didn't mean to fold. I mean, he may have folded, he may not have. He
never saw the hand, yeah.
He never saw his hand, so I mean, he would have ended up folding anyway to that jam. With that being said, Sarah had let Craig, who was running the action tracker, know. Probably should have let Mike, the tournament director, know what happened. But generally speaking, yes, the player is supposed to protect their hand. Under TDA rules, which is how we run our tournaments here at Poker House, it is the player's responsibility to protect their cards. With that being said, as soon as his cards hit the muck, it can be considered and called a dead hand by the floor of the tournament director. And that in that scenario, Craig, I think, called for a dead hand because the player's card hit the muck. Now, sometimes you can see some tournaments where if the cards are identifiable and retrievable, they will allow the players to pull their cards back. Now, if it was in a position to where he could pull his cards out from the muck, I'm not from the muck, pull his cards. Let's say he like had him in front of him and Sarah was about to pull him in, and he wanted to pull him back in. At that point, those cards are identifiable or retrievable. He could retrieve those hands, but since it hit the muck and it went into the muck, his hand was dead and no longer identifiable and retrievable. So Cecilia, Emma, and Nikki waiting for that money. So I think Dexter's hoping to get an ICM jump from 400 to 600.
479 to 606 was not a huge jump.
So not that big, but that's a lot of ice cream.
That's right.
I mean, it's maybe a movie
Cecilia,
night.
when's Emma and Nikki's birthday?
Yeah. maybe I don't know. Maybe a movie night.
Yeah.
With the parents. So
there's Andrea. They're one of our great servers here at Poker House, making sure everybody's got served. So we need water or sodas and stuff like that. I really do like our service here. Looks like Danny's all in again with ace 9 offsuit. Dexter folds the ace 8 of hearts.
And again, with that being said, ace 9 offsuit with about so the blinds are so she's on up to like 18 big blinds.
Yeah,
that's definitely a hand if you're gonna if you're gonna make a move, whether you're gonna want to rip.
I like it. I like the rip a lot. Yeah.
And she knows that Chris has to call off pretty tight, knowing that he's got Dexter with a small sec behind him. Now Dexter moving into the small blind gonna have to post 10K, so he doesn't not leaving himself much behind. So look for Dexter to get it in pretty soon within the next 2 or 3 hands. So hopefully Celia he can double up and make make Emma and Nikki some extra money here on this final table.
I do love it when the family watches their family members play.
Yeah.
This is one of the neatest things about streaming. You get to see what your friends are doing or your family's doing.
Yeah, and that's a cool. Like I said, I said this at the beginning of the stream. One of the reasons people ask why we stream these small cash stakes and these small tournaments. We're trying to do something here at Poker House that a lot of these rooms across the nation who live stream don't. What they don't do. They don't stream these low stakes tournaments, low stakes cash games. This gives an opportunity to somebody to be on a stream that would normally not be able to be on a stream. So
Danny flops a pretty big hand with top pair.
Yeah. Let's see how she proceeds. There's 2 diamonds on the flop, top hand.
She's all in.
Yeah. Doesn't necessarily need to rip it there. Again, not much worse unless she's trying to deny equity against overcards.
Yeah.
Dexter with 4 big blinds just gonna have to let it go probably.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much to think about.
A small bet would have been okay. Because if she gets snapped off there, she knows she's probably behind. So a small bet there again. Again, I'm more versed in tournament poker than I am in cash.
You're right. You did a lot of study in tournament poker.
Yeah, so.
You know, one of the neatest things about these commentaries, I had one of the players come to me and said, I listened to Eddie talk about some different sizing. It really changed the way I play my tournaments. And that's another thing. A lot of these streams are educational, especially when we have somebody as knowledgeable as you and played enough tournaments as you. And we'll have other people in, like Frankie from Next Gen is very knowledgeable. The Hassel boys are very knowledgeable. And our commentary is going to be really interesting. So these players can see a different point of view. They might not agree with this, but they can see a different point of view. Dexter's tanking.
Again,
I'm not sure why he's tanking here.
I'm going to assume his cards are correct.
Yeah, they switched decks.
He can definitely wait for a better spot.
Especially he's got the button next.
Yeah.
He's got no blinds next, right? I mean,
and he's got a player behind him. Yeah, it's a good fold. Not pushing Danny back over 25 big blinds. Chris still the chip leader at this final table with 29 big blinds. Again, Dexter with the short stack here at the final table. Has about 5 or 6 big blinds left. He should be getting into it. I think if he sees a face card or ace, he's getting it all in.
I love the way he's battled this final table. This final table, though. He's really done a good job staying in there and chipping up.
100%. The thing is with these tournaments, it's kind of like survival, and you pick your spots.
Right.
And so he hasn't gotten too many significant spots. I know he won a 3-way all-in with ace 8 suited earlier on the stream. So
after blind versus blind, Chris has got a big hand with ace 8. He's
probably going to open here and maybe see Chad with 28 big blinds. defend. This is a hand you can definitely defend on a blind versus blind situation.
Yeah. 40-40 call. They both got some chips now.
Yeah. So both with over 25 big blinds. So the chip lead is going to be between Danny, Chris, and Chad. Let's see what the flop brings.
Ooh, a little fireworks there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tristan doesn't have anything, but he might see bet and see what I would see what Chad does.
Well, if he opened from the small blind, this is definitely not a hand that's going to be within his opening range on a blind versus blind spot.
No.
Yeah, probably going to get Chad to.
This is all over Chad's range.
Yeah. A lot of that board's in his range.
That is a big bet.
And that's definitely a bet to deny some equity. I think he's overbetting the pot. Betting pretty much pot there, getting Chris to fold.
To deny overcards.
Yeah. So again, Chad probably not familiar with these final table spots. Doesn't need a bet that big. Again, he could be worried about some flush draws. Now,
yeah, he bet like a half pot or a quarter, 3/4 pot,
Yeah.
75,000. Because there's 80 in the pot plus the blinds. So about around 100 in the pot, look like. So they bet a full pot.
Yeah, on these spots, a lot of people want to bet big to deny equity. And, you bet for three reasons. You bet for value, you bet to deny equity, you bet as bluff.
Yeah.
So the three reasons you bet. So there he's definitely not bluffing. He's got the best hand with top pair. So he's probably betting to deny equity for some overcards. Now, again, if he's worried about a flush draw, Chris would have probably barreled the flop with a flush draw. So, he's probably denying equity more from overcards, knowing that that's not a board that was really good for Chris's opening range from the small blind in a blind versus blind scenario.
Blinds are pretty healthy right now at 15,000, 15,000 over the big blind and the ante. Danny just did an aggression.
Yeah.
Just took it, saw the weakness, like you said. She saw the weakness with the limp, and she just pounced.
And me with Queen 9 knowing, that's definitely, you had mentioned that one of the players had listened to one of my commentaries. Queen 9 offsuit on a blind versus blind situation, it's a limp call, right? So if you get raised from the big blind,
call, yeah.
It's a call, yeah. You definitely don't want to be opening and get pushed off your equity because that hand has some decent playability post flop. So I would have liked to seen him,
Yeah, Queen 9, Queen 10, that same range.
I definitely would have liked to seen him just limp and then knowing, I don't know if he's been paying attention to Danny's aggression, that I would have definitely just called there with Queen 9. Because a lot of times on a blind versus blind scenario, caps or ranges are kind of quote unquote uncapped to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So at worst, he's probably coin flipping in a scenario unless he's really worried about hurrying him.
Oh, here we go. Dexter's all in with 8-6 of clubs. This is the hand he was debating earlier against King Jack. It's a pretty 60-40.
I mean, he's got some equity. So
Yeah, it's not too bad at all, yeah.
He's definitely live.
And the blinds are coming to him.
Yeah,
So,
and
he
they're-
catches a little bit.
Yeah, so Chris with the open ender.
Oh, he catches the jack.
Jack on the river.
Jack
So Dexter eliminated in fourth place for $479.
I think so.
$479.
Played a great tournament.
Yes. Take some of that money home to Cecilia, Emma, and Nikki. And
$479, yeah.
Good game, Dexter. Thank you for joining us and congratulations on making the final table.
I hope we see you soon.
Yeah, I hope to see you at some of these other tournaments. Again, our 150K Danielle's birthday bash starts next Thursday. We'll be having 2 flights a day. Flight A starting at 10 a.m., Flight B starting at 4 p.m. on both Thursday, Friday, Saturday on 150K guarantee. Bonus bag if you make more than one bag. 3K. Oh. Definitely a hand you can open with. 7-6 suited is definitely good enough to open 3-handed under the gun. See if Chris is going to come back over the top. Pretty big open from you don't need to be opening up big.
Yeah, he could have made it 30 or 40 there. Because
This is the thing.
30 been a minion raise.
If you make it 30 and he makes 100, you can still defend.
Right.
But when you make it 50 and he makes it,
It's
let's
at
say,
150, 200, you can't defend
you
that.
can't defend that hand at this point in time.
And that's what happens. He makes 115. Well, 115, that's defendable. It's going to be an interesting hand here.
Yeah, it looks like 115K. Let's see. Let's get Sarah to count that out. Yeah, and he's getting a good price.
I like that call.
Yeah. And again, when you're 3-betting, your three bet sizing, especially when the stacks are this close between the 3 players, your 3-bet sizing does not need to be significant. A lot of times, if you're out of position to the pre-flop aggressor, you need to raise 3.5, 4x. Again, that's true, That's true.
Chris is always funny.
That's true early on in tournaments when you're multi-level.
Chris is all in here.
Putting him in a tough spot.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a tough spot. Because I think, honestly, if Chris checks, I think maybe Chad shoves here.
Yeah.
Well, not shoves, but makes a bet here. Because Chad's equity is not bad.
yeah. I mean, he's unfortunately he doesn't have enough. Even though he's got 38% equity in this hand.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. Chris's range could be a small pair. So he could have 7s, 8s, or 9s.
Right.
Because the way he 3-bets. You know, pairs up from 7 all the way up. You know, it doesn't have to be ace king, ace queen there, right? I mean, his range actually probably for the 3-bet is closer with the pairs than the ace king. So there's more pairs in there. I love the way I've only studied poker for the last year, but I really love the way the ranges have changed the way I've thought about poker instead of looking different hands. So it's good to see.
And I think you and I talked about earlier some comparison to the new generation versus the old generation. Old generation would try to put you on specific hands, like,
he's
you have
got ace
ace
king
king,
there, yeah,
ace queen, or kings or aces. Now the new game theory optimal way is thinking of hands and thinking of opponents' ranges, thinking of opponents' hands in terms of ranges. So what's a hand that he's going to defend out of the big blind? Obviously, you're going to be defending a little wider out of the big blind, or, okay, you open under the gun and then you're flatting in the cutoff. That's, what range of hands are you going to be cold calling and under the gun open? So that's how the game has changed over the past few years. Some of the things that I've implemented into my game, still learning. I'm still plugging some quote unquote leaks in my game. So
it doesn't look like Chad's put his hand over the reader yet, so we can't see what it is. But Chris is opening with the jack.
No, so here's the thing. Again, going back to this game theory optimal thing, a lot of people think you should just be raising with your ace kings, your queens, your ace king. You don't want to do that because that's going to make you exploitable as a player. So you're going to want to raise with your premium hands, and you're also going to want to raise with your junk hands.
Right, exactly. Because or else when people fold to you all the time, that's getting exploited there too. It's not just in 3-bet.
Chad's going to maybe go back and watch this. Going to go back and say, okay, he opened ace king, he opened jack 4. It's going to be very hard to put you on a range of hands when you're opening. You're not just opening good hands.
Yeah, especially 3-handed with Danny folding. He's only had to worry about Chad there. So, and Chad's been pretty tight the whole time. So I like Chris's raise here a lot. But it looks like Chad's calling. I wish we could see his hand, but it's exciting.
So viewers in the chat, let us know what you think what Chad's defending with here in the big blind. Maybe very hand similar to what he had last time. 7-6 suited. Oh wow, he flops 2 pair. Now. Yeah, if he's gonna want to extract some value, he's gonna want to
check
bet.
Here,
Yeah.
right? Check
he can
or small bet.
He can
or
do a
min
small
bet?
bet. No, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to bet maybe 20, 25K.
Oh, he checks it.
Yeah, get him to commit some of his chips. Would like to see Chris just call here. Get him to induce some action. Here's the thing: if Chad has a hand like Ace Jack, maybe like 10-9, 10-9 suited with some backdoor. I don't know. So. Smooth calls only necessary. It's a relatively dry board.
It really is. I mean, there's no flush draws and the range. I mean, 9-10 is the only really hand you're worried about in his range. Everything else, you're in great shape. King, Jack, Queen, Jack, Jack 10. 9-10, 8-9.
He's going to come back over the top. I would have liked to see him smooth call there and then check turn and get Chad to maybe potentially commit his chips. Again, if this was a more coordinated board in terms of straight draw.
Oh, he talks about bluff catcher. This hand's giving me the. What's he got? Ace. Looks like that's it.
And it looks like Chad has been eliminated in third place. And
takes almost $605. That's not bad.
And as Min and I predicted, it's going to be heads up between Chris and Danny here for the final 2, both playing for less 1,000, assuming
1,500 and 1,000.
1,008, I believe, was for second place. So let's see if Chris has him covered. He may have some chips left over. If he does, it's not going to be much. Probably just enough to post the blind.
No, he's got him.
And Chad has been eliminated from this final table in third place. Good game, Chad. Thank you very much for playing our Wednesday tournament. And there is some discussions on potential chop or ICM. So let's see. Listen to the table, see what they're going to discuss. We'll turn our mics down and see what they determine.
Twice. Alright, we got did.
Let's see how it plays out. I'm sorry?
I think he's really mad.
I was feeling froggy. And I played
He
that
made the
jack.
Alright,
mistake
dead big.
pre-flop not raising you.
Yeah, well,
When you made it 75, I would have gone all in with ace nine.
Actually, Sarah, 20 to come.
yeah, there's no way I could have called that.
So it looks like they're going to play at least for a little bit before any discussion of ICM or chopping.
Dead small.
And honestly, with the ICM with this chipset, it's not going to change things too much because it's 1,015.
Yeah.
It's not. It's pretty flat, right?
Again, as you play these bigger buy-in tournaments where there's a bigger field, the discrepancies between first, second, and third are pretty significant. So that's when ICM really, really comes into play. But ICM at this point on a 63-person tournament on a $100 buy-in is not going to be very significant. So I wouldn't be surprised if after a while maybe Chris is going to try to negotiate for not quite.
13, 12.
I mean, anything Chris gives up, it's almost even, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they're 15 and 1,000. If he gives up 100, it's 14 and 12, right? I mean, it's like, yeah.
So until they decide, it looks like they're going to go ahead and play. Danny with 13 big blinds left. Chris with a significant chip lead.
Chris folds there. Danny jam.
Yeah. And again, with that being said, you know,
But you're willing to do 13, you 13 and me 12?
Oh, wow. That's a great deal for Danny, 13 and 12.
that's a really good deal.
I mean, whatever you
Well,
want.
yeah, but that is just plain.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody. playing that deal,
Yeah, you know, for $200, you're going to make $200 more. So I guess they're going to just play this hand out, and it looks like maybe.
Button's a little blind, Sarah.
So, I mean,
How does this play? What I'm the
Button.
button, I'm the big blind?
Buttons small.
Right.
First before the flop.
Right.
But I was just big.
But we just busted him.
he was just big. He just acted
There's
as
no
big.
way if he's big and I'm the button.
Because the button was dead right here, and it was small, big, and now it's would be. Oh yeah. Oh, you would be button.
No, I'm the button.
So he would be small blind alone.
No, button is always
Button
small.
was like this. Like there was a dead button. It was small, big. Now we're here.
Actually, I missed that
It should be small.
question.
It should be small blind.
That's why
But I just
Yeah.
paid big.
He just paid big.
Oh, you guys heard me miss that question on the TA test. I don't know. That's all I
You
know
still
the
pass,
answer.
though, it's all that
I still
matters.
pass.
Still
I passed.
pass, all that
20% is not easy, you know. I was like, wait a minute.
Player that went out in 30 would have been the button.
Correct.
Would have been dead. So now that it is heads up, to correct it, you just played a hand where you were
button was
big.
dead.
Yes.
But the button is still here right now because you moved
Yeah.
it
So
when
now
his hand
it
was
was supposed to
down.
be here.
Well, it was here when you dealt the hand.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So two act.
Oh, you know what she did? She didn't move the button after they played a dead button with two players. You know.
Oh, okay.
Button was dead, and she
I
was
went all in.
and then but she was first to yeah, she was first to act, and she went all in.
So button will be in front of this gentleman, and then from there now it'll be correct. So
So if the button's there, then the cards are
The
wrong.
cards are wrong, yeah, but I
Sure,
because
we
I dealt
dealt
it.
So-
I
She dealt
moved
it with
it.
the button here. So she dealt him first. So it wouldn't even be a fair, it's not even a fair card.
So we're going to consider this misdeal. The button will go in front of this gentleman. Small. Deal
So do you want to
small.
do the 13, the
So we
13
played
and 12
two
or
hands
not?
like that with the dead button.
Button is correct now. So we will act
So I have a
small.
question. Why would you
Act
offer
as
to
small
like,
blind.
when it's
Big.
like middle of the hand, I agree to it, and then
Button will be small. She will be big. We will act first. And then
And actually, that's the TDA rule: is that you can't be big button twice, so you adjust the button. But I think the mistake we made is playing with a dead button initially, Eddie.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I was paying attention with regard to. No,
no,
I just
I- yeah.
followed the action. So
All right. Now I'm still surprised with that deal offer they haven't taken it, so they're playing it a little bit. So
yeah, I think Chris made an offer, she took it, and then he retracted it.
Oh,
That was my take.
that almost reminds me of a Seinfeld episode.
Man, I don't even watch Seinfeld.
I do watch that.
I like Seinfeld, but
All right, I guess that's what's going on. So we're gonna still play this out. But honestly, you know, the equities.
What did you deal first right now?
She's a like, is this right?
Should be.
So she's small, big?
Yes, the button acts first before the flop and last after.
Wait, but I'm small blind.
So you act
But I was
first.
big blind last hand.
Exactly. So you act small. You act first before the flop and last after.
But which card gets dealt first? Because
Yeah, you deal to the button first.
I didn't know he was here. So that's not a substitute.
You dealt him first, right?
sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I think we were just, squaring up a couple things here in the booth. Oh, we're heads up in a blind heads up. Danny with kings, Chris with king 9 clubs. Let's see what happens on the flop. Danny doubling up. Now they have relatively even chip stacks. Danny now taking back over the chip lead with 33 big blinds. Again, assuming chip counts are correct.
400 steps.
Alright, 400.
460.
1, 2,
Danny with a big double up there with 2 kings, it
Yeah.
looked like, right? Yeah.
So Chris now probably wishing he took that deal. Again, the ICM is not significant at this.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and honestly, you're right. And this level, with them just jamming like that, I didn't see. What did Chris have? And I just
King 9 of clubs.
Oh wow!
So it's not a bad call. Again, heads up with your chip stack the way it was, 16 big blinds. You don't generally see jamming, but again, I think Danny has significant. It says that Danny has 33 big blinds and Chris has 30. I don't think that's correct. It looks like he has approximately
280.
260, 280. So
more, maybe close to 3, depending
Yeah.
on with the. But she's got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so
5,
she's gonna
6,
put him in some
7,
tough spots.
8. She's got 800K
Yeah.
plus 300. She's got like 2 to 1, 3 to 1.
again, so sorry for those in the YouTube chat. We're getting spammed by my dating website. So
Yeah, so I tried it last night. It's not what it says. So
Yeah.
guys, don't fall for it. It's not as good. It's not that good.
I need to double check about like reporting that as spam.
Yeah. And
Oh, that's great. Oh, good. I didn't see that. I won.
Yeah, I didn't say everything.
Right, I didn't see it either.
Alright, she takes it.
Yeah, that's straight.
Oh, the 8 makes it out.
I thought the 8 got you,
Wait,
but
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
there's been no diamonds now.
I didn't see it. Good game.
You too.
all right, looks like Danny wins that last hand. We're not exactly sure what happened, but Danny wins. Guys, again, thank you very much for joining the stream.
So is
I miss Eric. How about you? You miss Eric?
Yeah. So, there we go. Danny with the tournament win, taking down $1,500, just a little over $1,500, and Chris taking just over $1,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in this late Wednesday evening, now 11:45 p.m. for our final table here of the $100 weekly Katie's game. A very popular tournament here, very good of value. Total prize pool of about, was it $5,040?
Yeah, it was a great problem.
Yeah, so
almost 60 players in there.
this is
63
definitely
players. 63 players.
For those of you in the chat that are kind of wanting to learn how to play tournament poker from a good value perspective, this is probably one of the best tournaments around in the Dallas area for what you get. So
Tournament level blind, 20,000 starting chips.
So if you're wanting to kind of get your feet wet and kind of learn the tournament atmosphere in terms of when to bet, when not to bet, sizing, and just kind of take your lumps, this is a good tournament to get your to get your feet wet. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for myself, Edward Batinga, and Mr. Min Win in the booth.
There's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, Min, you did a really good job in the booth. For first time being in the booth. I know you've been in the booth, kind of practicing, commentating when you and I, Craig, Eric, were kind of learning the live stream and getting things squared away. So that is it for us this evening here at Poker House Dallas. Tune in to us tomorrow at 6 p.m. We will be streaming Ducks game. It's a 1-2-5 $1,000 cat game at 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining in again.